in California that none of us can get to on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, dude, it's awesome. You gotta get out for GDC sometime. It's totally amazing.
Someday, when I'm not poor, it'll be on my list. All right,
I've-
so you're going to school, you're learning about game design, and you graduate from school. So what's your first gaming job?
Oh, that was Tremor, yeah.
Drummer.
So
Okay.
yeah,
That's kind
But-
of disappointing. You're all excited, and this is a game you're working on, which I'm also showing, by the way, in
oh, you are?
Twitch. Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
using.
watch the stream because it's far enough behind me that it's just
Yeah,
wigging out my
that's
brain.
okay.
That's also mirror me. Oh man, so, cat hair. Oh well.
Oh. Well, I stole your presentation from PAX, so I'm
Oh, that's
showing
cool.
aspects of it. So where does enemy airship come in?
Oh, okay, so there was Tremor, and then I got a job working as a game designer on Tony Hawk Underground at Neversoft.
Yes, which you also had a funny story about at PAX.
Right, because so I mean, because I worked there and I was like, I worked for 2 years on Unseen, and I wanted to ship a game, right? Like that's my dream to be a game designer. Like, oh my God, okay, this company for sure is gonna ship a game. They've done four of these games in the last 4 years. For sure, they're gonna ship this game. But we get to like the end of it, and I'm all fat, and I'm all like, got holes in my shirt, and my hair's all long.
From working all
I
night long and eating food.
kind of have a beard like I have right now, but a little bit more scraggly. I'm going feral after GC. That's I usually do for a week or two. I just go purely feral and run wild in the fields. Um, and then, so I got to the end of it, and it was like this brutal crunch at the very end. This happens at every big game studio, and we get to the end, and I fixed like some thousands of bugs, and it's just insanity. Like 16-hour days. Get up at 8 in the morning, get to the office, leave at 3, and rinse, repeat, no weekends.
Yeah.
And so we get done with the game, and we ship the game. We shipped it on like 20 SKUs or something. But anyway, so I'm just like haggard, just destroyed. Fucking thing after all this, 2 years of heartbreak and then a year of just crushing myself on this thing. And there's like these two skater kids that come in and they have the chocolate ice cream cone and they're like fighting over it and they're like, oh, which game should we buy? Tony Hawk. Oh no, that game sucks. And I'm just like, oh no, God, what have I done with my life? So then a couple weeks after that, I was no longer working at Neversoft, and then a couple of friends of mine had just started a game studio, friends from college, out in Arizona, and that was Flashbang Studios. So that's where all the Raptors and stuff came from.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you can just follow along in my presentation. That's a really good idea.
Yes, some of it. Flashbang Studios and Enemy Airship, I was getting confused because you're not technically listed as employed for Flashbang Studios. I wasn't sure. Like, Enemy Airship has it's like a nice page that has everything on it. You can see all the games. You can see, let's see if I'm there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, so I was like technically a co-owner of Flashbang Studios for a bunch of years.
Okay.
Um,
So,
yeah, so we tried to make casual games, which turned out to be a terrible idea because this was back when there wasn't an indie scene at all.
okay.
This was like 2003, and we were like, okay, casual games, that's really popular, and we want to make games, but there's only 3 of us or 4 of us, and so we're going to make casual games because that's something that you can make with 3 people and you can make money off of it, right? And we learned a really important lesson from doing that. Oh, 2 really important lessons. One, we fucking hate making casual games.
Oh, really? Why? They're so fun. The ones you have, all involving
Well, no,
dinosaurs.
those, I mean, the ones that are on Blurs.com, I would not consider casual games. When I say casual games, I mean like match threes and word games and
Oh,
stuff.
okay, okay.
So there was a game called Beasley's Buzzwords that was mostly made by Matthew and Shag, Mike Heim, who has a giant awesome beard and went on to become sort of the senior character artist at Epic.
Hmm.
So all that awesome artwork that you see in like the tech demos and Gears of War 3 and stuff, a lot of that's him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's really awesome. Oh, he did that. He did that amazing Guile and Chun Li and M Bison, like those amazing Street Fighter characters that everybody loves. The Street
Yeah.
Fighter best ones.
I'll look that up so I can link
I'll-
it then.
Anyway, yeah. So we were making like these casual games. So we made a game called Beasley's Buzzwords, which was a spelling game, and then we made a bunch of other sort of match 3 kind of that sort of thing. And then we're just like, we're not really making any money off of this stuff, and we kind of hate it, so we're going to start just like making awesome stuff.
Okay.
Here, I pasted it too. Oh, I should paste it into the Twitch chat.
Here, I'll grab it too.
This is the man right here.
Here.
There we go. Yeah, so we made these casual games, and it was cool, and you know, we just realized we weren't really going to make money off of it, and we hated it, and so we're like, cool, all right, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to make what we want to make, and so then that's where like Raptor Safari and you know, Minotaur China Shop and like all that funny, silly stuff came from.
Nice. Now, you've had some interesting names for places that you've worked for. I mean, Neversoft, you had the Unseen, all the rest. Where does Enemy Airship come from?
Oh, I think it entered my brain from a Do May Say Think song. It's
Okay.
Goodbye Enemy Airship, the something something something.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a band called Do May Say Think that's really cool. And anyway, it entered my brain at some point, and it was me and Scott Anderson were forming the company to create Shadow Physics, which is a 3D, 2D platformer thing where you're like a two-dimensional shadow being that runs along walls in a 3D world, and you can like push on objects, push on shadows and stuff
There
like
it
that.
is. I'm finding it on your presentation.
There you go. It's like
Yes.
this, you have perfect accompaniment.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was cool. Yeah, this is where Enemy Airship came from. So after we kind of made all the Blurst games, and then we gave them away for free, and then we are like, oh crap, we actually like need money. So
No,
then we
it's an
started like,
unfortunate reality, isn't it?
yes, right. And then we tried to sort of we released like the Blurst pack where you could buy like the downloadable versions of all the games and stuff, but it wasn't. It was sort of had gone past already, and we were employing a model that wasn't necessarily sustainable in terms of making. We made a game every 8 weeks for an entire year,
Oh,
basically.
wow. Productive.
So all those games on Blurst were made in that mold, basically.
Blurst is
And
amazing. I feel like maybe it's just nobody knows about it enough because I'm telling you, Off-Road Velociraptor Safari, I had so much fun playing that today.
hey, all right, that's
Yeah.
awesome. It was really
Although Morningstar, is that supposed to be the Triceratops tail? Like, what's the relationship to the Triceratops sitting in the back
I
there?
think it's just a Triceratops skull that's sitting in the back there.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Although
but
I have
we
to tell you, starting with the ramp, this was frustrating to me. I could not get the orange ball at the beginning when you start with the ramp. It made me feel like a failure. I had to run around and like run over things first for a while.
did you get the boost? The
Yes.
the boost is the key mechanic there, I think.
Now I see. The ramp is. I couldn't do it because I didn't have boost.
Yeah, you got to boost off that ramp.
Okay.
And then, actually, if you look in the Blurst Flickr in the bottom right there, you can see some of the screenshots from the HD version that they were working on.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know if you're saying this, but it was fun. And then, of course, yes, Jetpack Brontosaurus. Now, you seem to make these games like that and like Minotaur China Shop. There's some sort of social aspect where there's like a commentary on society in these games, which is kind of strangely integrated with the game. What's the deal?
I think that's just our weird collective consciousness amongst the Blurst people. It was myself, Matthew Wagner, Ben Reese. Those two are now working on this black and white beat 'em up roguelike thing called Aztez, which is really neat.
Okay.
If you haven't checked it out, Aztez.
It's
I'll type it
Blurst.
into the Twitch channel if I can get back to the Twitch channel. So those guys, yeah. Oh, my chat is like not letting, whatever.
That's okay.
Aztez. Yeah, you can find it. But yeah, so it was those guys, and then it was my friends Matt and Adam Meckley, who were like these crazy freak genius kids, and they both went on to get PhDs and stuff. So Adam's in Wisconsin, and Matt is getting an astrophysics PhD from ASU.
Mm.
Yeah. So whenever I need to back up an opinion, I'll just be like, well, my friend who's an astrophysicist says.
That's exactly what you want. You want that friend. It validates everything.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm showing them
He's
the
writing
first.
programs that are on the Hubble, like actually research programs that are directing the way that the Hubble is operating, which I think is just completely amazing.
You have all these friends who are going on to do this like epically successful stuff, and then you're acting like no one wants you to speak at places. Come on, you guys are
Well,
all
that's right.
going
Like,
on to
oh
do
man,
more
got all,
things.
all these friends doing neat stuff. Yeah, so basically our brains are weird, and so it's like we made this game where you run over ragdoll velociraptors, and it's really important that they be feathered velociraptors, and we got this really great email from a paleontologist saying, you know, like one of the preeminent paleontologists in the field is saying like, yeah, right on for the feathered velociraptors, all right, you know, it's like
Okay.
best.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was really fun. And so it's like, okay, so who's going to be piloting or who's going to be driving the Jeep, right? they're like, well, it should be a raptor. Well, it can't just be a regular raptor. Okay, well, it has to be like a raptor with a monocle and a pith helmet. Okay, all right. So now it's like a subtle commentary on British imperialism. So the raptor in the Jeep is subjugating the native raptors, and
I see.
there's this whole fiction about
Maximum
throwing the
velocity.
raptors. Yeah.
Nice.
We discovered that there's like a really fine line between, you know, concepts which are really funny and weird and awesome, and things that are just like ridiculous and dumb. So people would always it'd be on like Rock Paper Shotgun or something, be like, Jetpack Brontosaurus, you know, Velociraptor Safari, like what's next? Then it'd be like they'd make up something and it'd be like Triceratops Swiftboat or
Yes.
whatever. Swiftboat Stegosaurus. And then it was the best one was Friendly Dad. It was like Off-Road Velociraptor Safari, Jetpack Brontosaurus, Friendly Dad.
Okay.
Like,
there's no dinosaur in there. It can't happen.
we laughed about that one for a really long time.
What is with the dinosaur obsession? I have to say.
All of us love dinosaurs. I don't know. I mean, I just giggle with glee. Whenever I go to a city, I always go to the dinosaur museum.
Are you gonna see Jurassic Park 3D this weekend?
Hell yeah!
I thought so.
We were watching it last night, actually.
Nice. There's something funny about the Brontosaurus when you turn off the jetpack and it crashes to the ground. The way it sort of bounces in sort of a rubbery way, it's just amusing. I don't know why.
Yeah. That's mostly due to Adam Meckley and Matthew doing like a funny ragdoll Brontosaurus thing. That game was interesting. It never quite came together, but it was still really funny. It's funny to crash them into stuff.
Let's move on to the book. So what inspired you to write a book?
When did I write a book?
Yeah, like why did you say suddenly I have to be an author and I have so much I need to talk about game design?
Well, I read this thing one time that was like, successful people will make a list of the things they want to have done in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, and 100 years. And so I was like, okay, that sounds cool. So then I wrote down a bunch of stuff I wanted to do, and one of the things I wrote on my 5-year list was to write a book. And then I started writing a lot of stuff for my website, which is just myname.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote this article that was like principles of game feel, and I had this idea that you could take like the principles of animation and try to apply that sort of a, you know, subjective aesthetic rules thing. Like the fascinating thing about the principles of animation, I don't know if you're aware of what the principles of animation are.
No.
Okay, so there's Disney, right? There's like the golden age of Disney, and there are these guys, they called them the 10 old men or something like that. 9 old men.
That's not very flattering.
No, it's not. I guess not.
Well, a more epic name.
They were doing awesome work. But anyway, these guys are generally credited with developing the techniques that led to like actual film quality animation. So these are the main animators who did Snow White and all these like really famous Disney films, and they basically revolutionized animation. And this is people like Frank and Ollie. Ollie.com, I think is the site. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. So there were 9 of them. Anyway, so they basically were like inventing animation, modern animation, out of thin air. And as they were doing this, they came up with this set of principles. And what was interesting about them is they were sort of aesthetic principles. And you would think that, you know, aesthetics are sort of subjective, right? Like to each their own kind of thing. You wouldn't think you'd be able to come up with like principles that hold true for all animation. But it turns out that in the way that human beings perceive a series of frames, you know, played over time, turning into, you know, one animated, right? Like there's an actual physiological threshold at which a series of still images translates into a human brain into like a single object moving.
They discovered that there's actually, because as you're doing that with your hand, there's some lag, and it's doing like a single.
Stuttering.
Yeah. Carry on.
Perfect. Excellent. But what's fascinating is that you would think that would just be a matter of taste, but it turns out that there are all these principles like maintaining the volume of an object and so on, that just, if your animation doesn't do this, it's a bad animation.
Okay.
And if it does do this, it's a good animation. And everyone who learns how to animate learns the 12 principles. Right? I learned the 12 principles in a 2D animation class when I was in college. Like everyone who learns how to animate does this. Anyway, so what's fascinating about that is that just like that is even possible that there you can look at human cognition and you can look at a medium and say, okay, if you do this, it will be better. Anyway, so I just thought, hey, I wonder if that's